Hello guys, this is Joshua Hawes. As you can tell, that's over. I'm finally doing my reviews for episode 2 and 3 of What If. In case you're wondering why I'm doing this together, basically I didn't do my review. This won't be what I do usually. It's just I was on holiday last week and I could have filmed, but I just didn't want to. But I did watch the episode. It was really good. Spoiler that. Spoilers in general, if you can tell by the title. We're gonna have spoilers in this, so you have been warned. And overall, let's just get into my general thoughts. Episode 2 and 3. There are big improvements on episode 1. I liked episode 1, I really did, because it was starting to get. It was kind of this introduction to help you understand like the concepts of like what this is. Like it's basically because, by spoilers for Loki, but if you're watching, if you're watching this, you've probably seen Loki. It ends with the multiverse becoming a thing. And these what if scenarios are like different multiverses that might never touch on again in the MCU, but it is technically canon, which I like it like that, so it kind of still links in, but you don't have to see this to understand everything. But yeah, I really like these two episodes. Let's start. Another thing I really liked is how they both end with like cliffhangers. That could potentially build to more in the future, because I feel like that's something you could do for season 2, like continue on these stories from the cliffhangers that they left off for all of them, because I feel like there's a lot of potential for cool little stuff. And this is a show where you could get loads of seasons off and not really get bored of it. All you gotta do is come up with some wacky out of this world ideas that wouldn't fit in the MCU, and you can do it here and it would fit nicely. I really like just the concepts and the novelty of this show. Let's get into episode 2. What if T'Challa became Star-Lord? I love this episode. Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, he did this before he tragically died, is great in this. He feels like Black Panther. Some people feel it is because voice actors are very different. There are times people can feel a bit odd as a voice actor and feel a little bit separate from the main character because they're not as good as voice actors. I felt like that with Sebastian Stan, I think his name is, who plays the Winter Soldier. I felt like in the first episode of What If he was fine, but like something felt a bit off that didn't always make me think of it as the same character, which doesn't help. But here I can generally view it as the same character in a different scenario, and I liked how in his situation, like he's I like how in his situation that no matter what situation it is, they present T'Challa as a good person, which I think is a bit more powerful considering what we know about Chadwick Boseman and how, to be honest, how much of a nice person he was. I feel like that was kind of. This was actually also, of course, this was unintentional, but this was a kind of a good send off for Chadwick Boseman and T'Challa within the MCU, just because I would present that him in the sense of no matter what situation you're in, you're always a great person. You're always a blessing to that situation or that place you're staying, which is something that I really like. So basically, they provided a good reason why this mistake could happen. Basically, they were told by Eagle to get Star-Lord, there'll be a powerful source on him. They tracked the vibranium as a powerful source. They saw him child near the source of the vibranium, and they took him. They were going to put him back, but he wanted to explore the world, and Yondu was like, yeah, let's go to space. And that's kind of it. And the interesting part of this one, like, we see first, the only real connection we have to the original Guardian of the Galaxy is when he tries and gets the orb, and then Idris Elba's character, I forget the name of, the guy who works for Ryan, stops him. And of course in the movie he's like, who are you, when he says Star-Lord? But here he's the biggest fan of him. He's like the biggest fanboy and stuff. They have a bit of a vibe, but he's like, yeah, you can come and join our group. And one of the things I really liked is how wacky they're really going with all the possibilities, because Thanos is a good guy. Yes, they have him be a good guy, thanks to Joe. And you can argue whether that's possible or not, whether it even makes sense, but it's what if. It doesn't really matter. You could get away with so much more with this show that you couldn't if you put it in the MCU. And I really liked that, and because apart from that cliffhanger ending with Ego finding Chris Pratt mopping the floor near a restaurant place, this is pretty much the perfect timeline. Like Ronan's pretty much sorted. Thanos is not around. The only big villain really in this timeline is the Collector. So that's kind of their main. Then they have some very good, interesting things that have complicated relationship between Nebula and Thanos, because he was still evil at a time, and she hasn't forgiven him for that. She understands that he's changed, but she just struggles to forgive him. So it's a nice way of presenting a relationship that makes sense, that still ties into how these characters would feel, but it's different because of the different circumstances. I really like that. So they agreed to get this like magical, like powerful source from the Collector, so they can go and give good people. It's like a nature park sort of thing. I'm not really sure what it is. We also find out why he didn't come back, because surely that's another thing I really like. Because surely someone like T'Challa cares about Wakanda very much, cares very deeply about that. Surely he would want to go back there. It turns out Yondu told him that at a very young age that his family was destroyed. And the last conversation we had with his father is about how his like humans cause war and stuff. That's why we're separating ourselves. That was the last conversation he had. So he's got that at the back of his mind as his last memory. So he just believed it. Of course, we learn later on the show that is not true. But I like that they gave a reason why he wouldn't come back. Because surely T'Challa is the kind of character. Because I like how with the show they present them as the same character, just in different situations. I also really like that. But I like how they address how T'Challa, why he wouldn't go back, because he's the kind of character that would. So they go in, I won't do a play-by-play because we're already 6 minutes, like almost 7 minutes into the video, and we've got episode 3 to talk about. So they go in, they get captured, which is revealed by Tara the plan, but before he gets captured, he finds a Wakanda ship in the Collector's kind of place, and it has a message saying, my child was taken by aliens, like, or something like that, and so if you can, I want you back. And you realize, hang on a minute, Wakanda was destroyed because that video is his father old, like, he's aged. So he's like, it's not destroyed. So when they get captured, let's just say has a nice little chat with you, dude, like, why did you lie to me? And he's like, but you wanted to explore the world, I did what you wanted me to. And he kind of failed miserably. But I really like how the fact that they still present this idea of Yondu caring about T'Challa and that kind of feel of the episode, but in his own way, like he kind of did right, like he did with like Star. He grew about with Peter Quill. He learned about how to care about the kid, and he actually cared about him, which is why he didn't give him away to Ego. So I really like that. They come up with their plan, which involves Nebula breaking them out, because Nebula was like a cross where you would work with. If you didn't tell the other team, there was only a conversation between T'Challa and Nebula. Nebula would pretend to be alongside the Collector so they can capture him, and then let them out, because the Collector was too smart for anything else. But she kept the plan for most people to help with this. And so he gets put in like a shield by the Collector, and I like the fact that how his words play such an impact. Like the way he presents himself, the way he acts, T'Challa changes a lot of things about people, which is how Thanos is a good guy. It also plays it because when the slave has something she says, she's like, yeah, this is wrong, I'm not going to be a slave. So she helps them during their fight, after the fight. They have a good little interaction because Yondu is going to come to the child he cared about. They beat him in the fight, and then Yondu says, on the ship back, wherever you go, you're going to be a blessing. It's up to you what you want to do, and I'm sorry for lying to you. He, of course, agrees to go to Wakanda, and they have a great kind of moment, and his father asked him, wait, how do you get in your hands and stuff? And he's like, well, I just said, I was lost, he brought me in. So, kind of present the fact they still hear each other. I really like that, and then, in probably the most heartfelt moment, it said something on the screen like dedicated to our friend, our hero, Chadwick Boseman. That was really emotional. I'm looking at the battery, I need to get going. So yeah, and we go into episode 3. Episode 3 is, I think, a brilliant episode because they do what if there's multiple what ifs, but the main scenario is kept a secret, and the episode is called What If we lost the world's mightiest heroes, or something like that. So it starts off with Iron Man in the scene for Iron Man 2 dying, Thor dies, Hawkeye dies, and they blame these other Avengers that end up dying, and have really cool kind of moments. There's a lot more. It's the most complicated episode out of all of them. And Steve Rogers does not die. He's still stuck in the ice at this point, which is a nice little, just something to know. I won't go too in depth with this because I'd much rather you watch it. It's a very kind of complicated. We can see how there was a bit of weirdness because we saw Bruce Banner, like Mark Ruffalo voiced Bruce Banner, but this is the Hulk from the Incredible Hulk in that scenario, so it felt a bit weird because of course Edward Norton played in there. I was generally, what I loved about this episode, I genuinely had no idea who was behind this, who was killing the Avengers. And then Black Widow finds out about someone called Hope. I should have realised this earlier, but I didn't. Who died 2 years ago, was in like accounts recently, and so she's like, okay, we'll. He calls Fury to tell him this, but while she's doing this, she's also getting killed by someone. And then earlier on, Loki and Asgard has invaded the Earth, and like, we want the person who killed my brother taken to justice, or we will freeze over this Earth. So he all starts to connect. He goes to a tomb. He convinces Loki and stuff to help him. They go to a tomb, and it's Hope Van Dyne, Hank Pym's daughter, and we find out in this scene that it's Hank Pym all along, which I really liked because I really didn't see it coming, but really I should have. And I really like the way they kind of went with it. I really like how they kind of kept a lot of mystery to it. I love how the episodes are getting more complicated. And they have a fight. It turns out Loki was helping them with a bunch of mirrors and stuff. There's not a lot to talk about, but it was a very good episode if you're wondering why I'm watching it. And he's like, okay, you've got Hank Pym now. You can go back to Asgard. He's like, you know what? Maybe I'll stay on Midgard Earth a bit more. It turns out he's taken over the entire world. And Nick Fury's like, okay. And he's gonna kind of build a new Avengers team. He's called Captain Marvel. He's got Captain America stuck in the ice, so he's gonna still build a team to help take down Loki. In case you're wondering once again why I didn't go into much of this episode, clocks again my camera's on my battery, and there's not a lot to talk about. It's a very mystery storyline, and despite those spoilers, I don't think I'll be able to do it justice without making this video too long. So I think that was probably, episode 3 was probably the best episode. So far the episode's been getting better and better. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I hope, and let me know in the comments section below, what did you think of the episodes 2 and 3 of What If? And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on so you never miss a video. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye guys!